Anfield Stadium. Liverpool versus Tottenham. The classic derby. 0-0, 89th minute. Daniel Sturridge winded up for the kick. A goal! Everyone knows what that means. A screamer from the 30-yard line. Our chant goes up. Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba. It never felt so good. I'd be inclined, ba ba ba. A proper good time with the lads. A pint glass in my right hand, a mate in my left hand. This is what a proper good time in England is all about. However, today, our discussion isn't about football itself. It's actually a different aspect of football that not many Americans know about. It's called hooliganism. It's a darker side of football, but it might be misunderstood by foreigners outside of our country.
Although tensions in football have been around since the rise of competitive sports in society, hooliganism itself has not displayed itself throughout Europe until the late 1800s, around 1850. The first actual display of hooliganism was in Scotland, after a match between Scotland ED and Liverpool. And these players gathered around. It wasn't actual hooligan firms that developed at the time. However, massive brawls were occurring in these Welsh countries. And because of this, many people in surrounding areas began to fear going to these soccer games, and soccer developed a bad reputation because of it. Because at this particular game, this first display of hooligan activities, everyone stormed the field. They were attacking not only the fans of the supporting team, but the players themselves and even the referees. And although today it's developed a little bit, it's developed a lot more, and hooligan firms themselves, they're a lot more systematic about the way they go about their hooligan activities, which involve, of course, violence and drinking at pubs. But how they fully developed in England, it began when these teams developed these gangs called firms. And these firms would gather at pubs and start drinking, and then they just walk through the streets causing havoc with groups of 40 to 50 people looking for the supporters of the fans of the other teams. And they had their own territories, almost like gangs in our society here. And if someone from the opposite team's fans was to step foot in their territories, bad things would happen. However, although hooliganism was mostly prevalent in the United Kingdom, it has spread throughout almost entire Europe. And this is a demonstration of German retaliation against English firms coming to their country. And in fact, it got so bad in Germany that certain English teams didn't even want to go play over there because they knew that would cause a lot of trouble and a lot of problems, because the German people wanted to show, hey, the English people aren't the only one who can throw down in soccer games, we can as well. This is a particular in the 1930s, I believe, in which England was visiting Germany, and there was lots of displays of riots and stuff that the police had to control that was very difficult for them too, because they're such large groups of people. And they really don't actually care if they get in trouble. They would get arrested and they get out. These are the working class people. That's how it arose. Also, working class people wanted to find a greater sense of purpose, and they found it through hooliganism. And that's how they found a way to express themselves and just be part of something greater than them and find some mates.
So actually one aspect of hooliganism is trophies. Basically, trophies are any part of your team's gear. Could be a jersey, could be a scarf, could be a flag. And basically the idea is to obtain your rival's gear and try to embarrass it at some degree. So burning it, defiling it in any way would earn you a trophy under your belt. And basically, you try to get points in the system of the firm, and whoever has the highest points of doing like obtaining trophies, reaps some sort of benefit within the firm. And this is a quote from one of our sources. Doesn't matter who you are, it's kind of a egregious mark of Cain to have your shirt or banner forcefully taken from you, and some of the more rabid fans have no moral boundaries. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, if you're wearing foreign colors in a rival territory, it's going to be a bad situation for you. So basically, as I said, jerseys are a hot commodity. If you're wearing a rival's jersey in a foreign territory, you can earn what is called a thumping, and that's basically a British version of an ass kicking. So another aspect of, or part of the culture of hooliganism is chants. Obviously you heard me and Steven chant our heart outs at the start of the presentation, but every firm has specific chants that they have for their own football club. There's more communal ones. Sweet Caroline is sung by multiple football teams, but there's specific ones as well for a specific football team. And the rule of thumb is if your team's winning, everyone's going to sing their heart out. You have your scarves up, everyone's flying their colors, waving their flags, popping flares, stuff like that. But when your team is losing, you're going to quiet down, and because they take this stuff very seriously. So if your team's losing, you're not going to be in the best mood.
Although British firms are very chaotic and induce massive amounts of violence, there's a difference between their forms of aggression and gangs in today's society in America. As in, their chaos is organized. As opposed to looking for fights like within the streets, although they do that as well, they look for fights through their phones. They set up fights, meeting times, and they try to stray away from the general population and try to avoid problems towards them. However, although this is being said towards the general population, police often do get involved into this, and this is actually a form of training for them, and that's one way that people look at it as a benefit. As although the police don't usually get hurt because it's usually never weapons involved in these brawls, it's a way for them to like improve their riot control. And it's even said throughout the world actually that the United Kingdom's riot control is one of the best in the world because of this in particular. Social media is a way that hooligans also like talk to one another, connect with one another. They find their rival firms and they set up a certain meeting place, and this is how in today's society how they find each other and set a specific place to meet. But
so actually, this is one of the benefits to society, especially in the UK. So yeah, with the audience, hooliganism really wanted to try to show off what they can do, because now they can show the whole world with advancements in technology. So the police have actually caught on to it and basically started tracking their smartphones, but now the hooligans have actually taken a step down in technology and they use burner phones now, so it's harder to find them and track their location. So basically someone quoted hooliganism for police as driving in an empty parking lot. At the end of the day, these guys are just trying to hurt themselves or their rival gangs or firms. They're not trying to hurt any innocent bystanders and stuff. So police actually have a training ground to control mass riots, and basically they can analyze and kind of learn from any of the mistakes they do, and actually videotape a lot of stuff that they can do, and basically analyze, learn from your mistakes, and it betters them as a police force.
okay, so although the hooligan society has a lot of detriments to society, their intentions are not always mad. They're just always bad. They're just very passionate about the sport, just like this young kid right here, and they seek a way to demonstrate their love for the game and display their built-up manly aggression as being a working class citizen in a society in which they don't have much, they didn't have like much to represent themselves upon arisen. But although there's a lot of detriments to their behavior, they are also beneficial to society in a small way, and their love for the game is something that we can respect. Thank you.